Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome you all on webinar on impact of COVID-19 pandemic lesson and the way forward for the global pharmaceutical industry. Today we have renowned speakers with us, Dr. Sanjay Agrawal, Dr. Paresh Dave, and Ms. Anshu Yadav. Let me take pleasure to introduce all speakers one by one for today's session. First of all, I would like to introduce about Dr. Sanjay Agrawal. Dr. Sanjay Agrawal is the leading independent researcher, pharmaceutical consultant, and patent holder of more than 40 molecules. He has actively worked in pharmaceutical and related industries for more than 28 years and started his firm Pharmaceutical Consultant and Inventor in 2005. Skilled in formulation development of solid orals, liquid, multi-particulars, nutraceuticals of food products development and commercialize novel, adaptable and patentable platform technologies for various dosage forms. Dr. Agrawal obtained his post-graduation in biochemistry from prestigious institute, completed his MBBS Bio and MBA from IMT. He is the editor-in-chief of renowned IJM. Today, he honorable member of editorial board and Antiseptic and Qual Pharma magazine. He has published more than 60 papers in reputed national and international magazines. Dr. Agrawal is meticulous, a keen observer and ultimate performer. Dr. Sanjay Agrawal is also illustrious member of the National Geographic Society and member of Scientific Committee IDMA. Dr. Agrawal had received various awards for his valuable support and contribution in healthcare and pharmaceutical sector. He has worked with many international and national pharmaceutical companies. Dr. Agrawal founded pharmaceutical consultants and inventor. The firm worked with its diverse base of the companies across the globe. It supports food, pharma, and nutraceuticals industry by consulting in regulatory work, providing unique molecules, and helping firms creating brand image. Dr. Agrawal is associated with many colleges and institutions and believes initiative is bringing the bridging the gap between academics and industry. I would like to thank you, Dr. Agrawal, to join today's invitation as a speaker. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Paresh Dave. Dr. Paresh Dave has an overall experience of 20 years and 10 years in research and development. He has active in intellectual property field since 2006. Before founding IP Movement, Paresh worked earlier with highly reputed IP companies from 2008 to 2016. Press is also working with the corporate startups, individual inventors to maximize their IP potential of technical disclosure and developing strategic intellectual property assets also help companies to identify, protect, and maintain their IP, including patent, trademark, copyright. Paresh has particularly experience in field of chemistry, catalysis, pharmaceutical, biophysics, mechanical printing, 3D printing, food supplement products, infant food products, beverage technologies, personal care products, cosmetics, biochemistry, biotechnology, and immunology. Dr. Paresh holds a doctorate degree in chemistry from Central Salt Marine Chemical Institute India. He also holds a postgraduate diploma in intellectual property rights from NALSAR University of Law, India. After completing his doctorate, Dr. Paresh Dave worked as postdoctoral fellow at three different labs: Weizmann Institute of Science, Israel; Miami Institute, Ohio, USA; and University of British Columbia. Dr. Paresh has published 19 research articles in internationally reputed journals such as Springer, Journal of American Chemical Society, Biochemistry, Langmuir, Biophysics Journal, etc. Now I welcome to Dr. Paresh also. Now I would take pleasure to introduce our today's co-host, Ms. Anshu Yadav. Anshu Yadav currently working as editor-in-chief, as founder and director of Qual Pharma with over 10 years of experience in industry. Ms. Anshu Yadav brings an extensive track records of success in QA and regulatory field. During her tenure, has a strong domain expertise in pharmaceutical auditing, training, consultancy, and operations. And I welcome you all the guests on today's webinar. I would now like to give opportunities to Dr. Anshu Yadav to start our today's webinar on a theme which is selected for the current scenario of the pharmaceutical field, because the current situation is pandemic COVID-19 is play a key role. So how COVID-19 pandemic a lesson the way forward for global pharmaceutical industries, how global pharmaceutical industries play a key role in the healthcare sector. So I would like to give our co-host Dr. Ms. Anshu Yadav. Please Anshu Yadav, proceed with today's session.
Thank you, Vikram. Good evening and welcome to the webinar series. I'm Anshu Yadav, Editor-in-Chief, Qual Pharma. I will be partnered with Mr. Vikram Chaudhary, Director, Operant Pharmacy Federation. As you all aware, the world grapples with the problem of COVID-19 and how to come to grips that what could likely be the post-COVID world. The one thing that is grappling everyone's attention that how soon we can get a vaccine and flatten the curve. And the most important question is, even if we get a vaccine in, let's say, 12 months from now, how do we learn to live with this virus? We will be taking few more questions in this webinar series, which will touch the API industry, the impact on API industry, the impact on pharmaceutical industry, and also on our education system. After this, there will be a 15-minute question and answer session if you have. I will be speaking to Dr. Sanjay Agarwal, the leading pharmaceutical consultant and inventor. He will be joining us from Ahmedabad, and Dr. Paresh Dave. He is founder and director of IP Moment. He will be joining us from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Dr. Paresh Dave and Dr. Sanjay Agarwal, for joining us. Welcome, both of you. So, Dr. Sanjay, my first question to you is, what precaution should we take post COVID-19 pandemic?
Namaskar. Thank you very much to Mr. Vikram, Dr. Paresh, Madam Anshu, to invite me on this panel. A very interesting subject, and a very interesting, the question is raised by Madam Anshu about the prevention. After the lockdown, the prevention is most important as compared to what we have seen during the pandemic. The most important, we should always remain very positive. It is proven by the medical science. The positivity is directly related with the immunity. If you are more positive, your immunity will be more enhanced. I'll tell that we all are having the Mycobacterium tuberculosis in our body, but nobody is here with a patient of tuberculosis, because our body immunity is dominating on Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and that is why we are constantly overcoming this objection. Similarly with coronavirus, we all have a coronavirus, but nobody is a positive in this panel, because our body immunity is very competent. So the basic that we should remain always positive. We should forget about this pandemic in our mind. The number two, we should not go at least for 2 years for international flights. We should remain in town, we should remain in our country, and at least for 1 year, we should not go out for the eating. Because we do not know when we go to any hotel and restaurant, whether they maintain the hygienic or they don't maintain the hygienic. And most important, in the crowded place, during the marriages and other programs, we should not go and participate there. And in the crowded places, we should avoid at least for a year. Social distancing is the most important. It's very important. We have to maintain at least for 1 meter. And whenever you go out from your home, you should always have a mask. And try this mask should have 9 layers, so the coronavirus should not filter your mask, and this mask should be completely covered your nose and mouth. And the most important, that you should take more and more about vegetarian lifestyle. So it will maintain your immunity. No alcohol, no cigarette, because they deteriorate our immunity. No, we should not go for cinema halls, malls, crowded market at least for 6 months. And we should try to enhance our body immunity by citrus fruits. Especially we should take even citrus vegetable like tomato, kiwi, and lemon. Lemon we should take as much as at least 9 glasses water. With lemon is more profitable to even any authentic medication. And vitamin C tablet should be taken. And when we go to the barber and beauty parlors, we should always with mask. If the person who is operating us, if he does not have a mask, we should tell him that he should work with a mask. And we should always should not use painkillers. It is proven whenever we take any painkiller, including paracetamol, it damages our body immunity extensively. So whenever you have any headache and body ache, try to avoid with the natural phenomena. Try to avoid until unless it has not come to your requirement. And the person who is a positive with the coronavirus, try to isolate from the society. And the person who is cough and sneezing is there, we should be maintain the distance with such patient. So these are the very important precaution. And as you know, the sanitizer, you should keep a sanitizer in your pocket always. The best sanitizer is that which contains 62% of alcohol. When you use the sanitizer, you wash your hands and rinse your hand, and try these sanitizers should not be fall on your clothes. And unfortunately, if it has fallen your cloth and if you are nearby to heat, there is a possibility to burn. So these are the precautions which we have to take care in the coming days.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sanjay. My next question is, what will be the impact on the API industry due to this pandemic?
The API industry, because now the Ministry of Health has given a permission to 1,000 companies. They want to migrate from China to India for the various reasons. There was one reason is there, even in the China, the stability is not there. Number two, the manpower scarcity there. So the ministry has already given the approval to 1,000 companies. The maximum companies are from multinational, and they are going to install their manufacturing plant in India. And as such, in India has never been dependent on the API from China. We will getting only intermediates, which has already started generating in India. And while these companies will come in India, probably there will not be any scarcity to the API, and we will not dependent on the China. We will be well sufficient and will well able to generate the enough material, enough API in India. I don't think after the pandemic we will be have any inadequate for the API, because these multinational will generate, and our own established companies, they will also produce extensively the API in India. And the market will be very rich for the domestic market is much better as compared to international market for the finished products as well as for the API business also.
So what will be the effect on the growth rate of the pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah, the growth rate will be very excellent. It's beyond our expectation. We have come out with some of the statistics. The statistics like we have come, as such this pandemic has going to impact on 4 basic areas in general. The one area, the medicine demand and supplies issue. The number 2, the engagement of the healthcare professional. I'm talking to the doctors. And third, most important, the CROs, the clinical development and new launches. New product will be launches in India. The more and more clinical trials will be conducted in India. And fourth, the future of the healthcare industry will be very exciting in India. The sales will be very high, especially for the domestic business, because the export will be little on negative side, because most of the countries are unstable. They are not going to stable shortly. So our focus will be more on domestic. If we see the domestic market, there are certain states where the growth will be more than 50%. Like we talk the Maharashtra, Delhi, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and UP, where you'll find the sales will be 50% on the positive side as compared to existing one. Even though they're more moderate state, they will also have 7%. And when we talk the manufacturing hub, there are certain areas where the manufacturing units, they will perform much better, like Himachal, Uttarakhand, Sikkim. Even the more burden will be there on Maharashtra, the Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, because their contribution will be more as compared to the other part of the country. If we see the other area, that especially the plants, the big plants, they will have the 50% growth, or they have it. They will, the productivity will be only, they are going to perform only 50%. The most important reason is a low manpower. The manpower is not, will not be available. That is why they are not going to produce, or they are not going to utilize their capacity more than 60%. Similarly, the small scale companies, they will have to their contribution will be only 49%, because due to the deficiency of the raw material. If we go to the functional unit, what products they will have more, they will produce in the after the pandemic, like the functional unit, as I mentioned, the big unit, large scaled companies, they will produce the more amount of the 43% of anti-malarial, around 50% they will be antiviral, antibiotics will be 57%, analgesic 57%, and analgesic, the anti-allergic will be 58%. I am saying that there will be gap between the demand and the production. They are not going to cope up their demand, or especially in these segments. And the small scale companies, they will also perform only 30% anti-malaria. Antiviral, they will produce only 20%, and antibiotics, they will perform only 19%. Analgesic, they will produce only 15%, and anti-allergic, they will produce only 14%. Reason is very simple, because on the one side, the manpower is not there. That is why the big companies are not going to perform, and the small companies are not going to perform, because the lack of API, the raw material deficiency. If you see the shortages at especially for API for the manufacturers, these APIs will not available for the manufacturers, especially for anti-malaria. They are going to produce only 50%. So there will be big gap between the demand and the production. Similarly, antiviral, they are going to produce only 40%. Antibiotic will be 48%. Analgesic will be 37%, and anti-allergic will be 50%. Similarly, at the stockist level, at distributor level, they will able to sell only 50% of anti-malarial, because the stocks will not be available. Antiviral, they are going to sell only 60%, because products are not available. Antibiotics only 59%, analgesic 52%, anti-allergic will be 50%. So there will be very big gap between the demand and the production. If you see further, so you'll find there is a big gap, So the Indian industry will be very in the healthy shape after pandemic, especially in the finished goods, even in the API also. There are certain areas where the scope will be more. So our industry will be very healthy as compared to in the past.
And what will be the impact on foreign pharmaceutical industry over Indian pharmaceutical industry?
As such, whatever the statistics we are providing you, we have done a small pilot study at different angles. We have contacted leading clinicians in India during this pandemic, and we have tried to take out their behavior. So what we observe, around 50% doctors, they have a more registration now in their mind about the Indian companies as compared to multinational. They have a more respect for Indian companies as compared to multinational. So as per the data which we have collected, these data shows that the Indian doctors will have a more inclination while they are writing their brands. I think they will do more favor to the Indian companies as compared to multinational.
Dr. Dave, now I would like you to share your views on how COVID-19 is impacting on pharmaceutical industry globally.
So thank you, Ms. Anshu, for this question. And Dr. Sanjay, you have covered up, that very positive note that, only positivity is one of the thing, we can come out of this pandemic. And you have also said, that this because of this pandemic, after this pandemic, when we come out, then Indian pharmaceutical industry will be in the better shape, And I would like to, empathize on the same line, with a few more points, As you said, that it is good. That main thing is that drug pricing, drug pricing, cost of the drugs, it is going to be increased, and 50 to 30% of medical ingredients and medicines, imported to India, imported to USA from India. And just to share an example, that paracetamol pricing in India, has gone up from 250 to 300 Indian rupees. So it will be around 3.5 US dollar per kilogram to 450, around 6 US dollar. So it is almost 80%, almost doubling, the paracetamol price has increased. So because of this situation, the drug pricing is little bit increasing side, because of this overall the situation. Even the penicillin and some of the vitamins prices also increase, around 50 to 60%. So that is the first effect. We can see that cost of the drugs is going on the higher side, upside, and main problem is coming because of the supply of drugs. So this pandemic is clearly shows that pharmaceutical industry has supply chain which is very fragile. It's very fragile because it can uh, break down anytime. Because of supply chain. What happens that generic drugs are there. So generic drugs, India is a major producer, and then India is getting APIs and some raw materials from China. So it's like, if we don't get material from China, then we cannot make the finished product, and then we cannot supply to USA. So kind of it depends upon the supply chain, how the supply chain and where all these manufacturers are sitting on their manufacturing plants are there. So supply chain is going to be affected and is already affecting, So that is one of the effect we can see, And because of that, shortage of the raw material is also one of the concern is there. As of now in India, we all these generic drugs company manufacturers and other companies, they don't have problem because they have already stored the raw materials in advance for around 6-7 months. But one can see, after 7-8 months, there will be some kind of shortages of the raw materials, and based on that, inventory will go out from around 1 year to 3 years. So it will delay some things for the finished product to come into the market. And then inventory running out for the emergency care, anesthesia care, and pain management, and others also. And now we have the good example of hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine, because that demand is whole worldwide, it surged, and then India has supported for the supplying, this HCQ, hydroxychloroquine, and other materials. And we in India, all these manufacturers, they started, HCQ plants based on that. As I know that many companies in Gujarat also, they are 24/7, they are working just to produce the HCQ. So supply of drug is one of the concern, and one of the area that is going to be affected. And then one more point is that digital health. As sir said, that this is going to change a lot. So now in the case of digital health, when we are entering into the digital world, so we are having, telemedicine and video consultation. So many doctors, they have started giving the consultancy over the video phone or video call, So based on that, that market is going to change, and that area is going to change a lot. So digital health is one of the area is going to be affected. And now health related videos and mobile apps, many, doctors and to peoples, who are experts in this field, they are using it, this medium to connect to the end customer and to the benefit of the society. So health related videos and apps are on the rising side. Even you can see, and the other way, as sir said, that positivity is also important. So if you look at that, meditation related apps are also on the high rise. Many, experts who are supporting to the like yoga and meditation. Those things are also on the higher side because this is also one of the effect is there. And robot etc. are going to be used and different places in the hospitals and at the consultancy centers and at the different places also. So these three main area of concern means main area are there where we are seeing different things because of this pandemic, and this is going to change pharmaceutical industry and overall the health what we are looking at. So Anshu ji is there. So now my Vikram, can you say what you are saying? You are on mute.
So now I am audible.
Yes, yes, yes. Now you're audible. Okay. So as I
So
said, these 3 points I have shared: digital health, cost of the drugs, and supply of the drugs are the main points. Is going in this pharmacy industry and health wise, is going to change a lot.
So how it is
And
going to impact on generic drug market in India in near future?
so that is a very good question, and we all know, that India is one of the top, or the number one generic drug producer in the world, and we are on the around second or third position, I guess. And we are also, one of the vaccine producer in the world. So around 50 to 60% vaccines related to DPT, diphtheria, BCG is manufactured in India, and measles vaccines around 90% is generated in India. So whole world is depend upon the us for manufacturing, of the generic drugs. So India is one of the major contributor in the case of generic drugs. But as I said, that for the APIs and other raw materials, India is depending upon China. So around 57 APIs, for which raw material we are importing from China. And basically, as Sir has shared some data related particularly medicines, antibiotics, vitamins, hormones, steroids. So those for those drugs also, genetic drugs, raw material, maybe within 7 8 months, we will need help from China to get the raw material. And in India, main concern is that we are also facing interstate transportation challenges. So as we know that many manufacturing units are located at the Goa, Baddi, and Sikkim. So these three locations, many major pharmaceutical drugs manufacturers are there. So those places to transport drugs at the different states, all over the India, it's one of the biggest challenge, and we are facing, interstate challenge. Now it's lockdown, but after lockdown also, we have to see, how this we can make faster, transportation of the drugs and the pharmaceutical related raw material as fast as possible. Now in lockdown period, government has given relaxations to some of the laboratories to run and for sample collection, etc. And also they have given, permissions for the drug manufacturers. So many drug manufacturers are also working hard 24/7 because of government instructions. And now government policies are also more important, because exports of kits, sanitizers, masks, and some other materials like PPE kits, as I said, and ventilators, and many other stuff which are used at the hospital level. So those exports also is banned by the government. So these are the main things is going to be affected. And now we see, one more trend is going to emerge, and that is e-pharmacy. In India, e-pharmacy, the draft is already ready and it's circulated, but we have to proceed further in this case, e-pharmacy, because it is estimated that, in India, it was around 3,500 crore market in 2018, and now it is going to be increased by 63% with CAGR, and it will be in 2022, it will be around 25,000 crore rupees. So e-pharmacy business is one of the most important part, one of the most, you can say, industrial part or concept is that is going to evolve in this period after the pandemic. But as we know that in India, e-pharmacy, it depends upon the many things on digitalization. So like e-prescriptions, e-health records maintenance, and e-pharmacies, e-pharmacies means they can automatically feed the medicines and they can automatically supply to the patients. So these are the aspects, India has to evolve a lot and we need to work out for that. And we also know now also, these medicines, whatever we are getting in the market, they don't even have the barcode also. So without barcode, we are having this medicine selling. So if we have barcode, then it will be easy to track, for anyone at the government level, at the pharmaceutical company, or the doctor also, they can track, who is taking medicines, when they are taking, and what are the barcodes, etc. Manufacturing, means you can see that when it is manufactured, when it is expired. So all these detail can be tracked down by the barcode medicine. So we do not have that barcode medicine, but definitely I am very hopeful, and I believe that e-pharmacy is one of the area is going to change a lot in India after this pandemic, and immediately, all these digital platforms, they are going to work on this.
The next question is, what is the intellectual property situation of pharmaceutical industry?
Yeah, so this is most important thing, as we know, every day, we are seeing newspaper and TV channel headlines, new vaccine is already invented and already discovered, you can say invented by Israel, by Italy and USA. So all these major pharmaceutical companies and major players and countries also, they are more interested, to develop vaccines and medicines. Why it is? Because any way, now they're saying about it is very worldwide pandemic situation, we need to help each other. But main purpose is that to have the market, business out of this. So pharmaceutical business runs, by these major players based on, these vaccine developments and drug development. They are spending millions and billions dollars to develop the drugs. So when they use those money to develop a drug, they obviously, they try to protect their intellectual property. So intellectual property is going to be a major player in this pharmaceutical industry after this COVID also. So every government, every country, they have to work on their IP policies, IP laws, and they will also try to, stop other manufacturers and other big companies to enter into their particular relevant market. And just to share with you, like Chinese companies, they already have started, trying to secure patents for repurposing of the Gilead medicines, these remdesivir. And now you can see today's newspaper, the news was there that Israel company has already secured, a couple of patent applications. Means they got grant of patents in USA. So I can say that intellectual property is going to play a very important role and is very crucial for any company's growth and for the society also. How this pharmaceutical industry and how these different countries, they are using this. You can say that these Ramban use intellectual property to protect their society and to help society also.
My next question from Dr. Sanjay Agrawal: how R&D industries are influenced after COVID-19 pandemic?
Thank you very much, Mr. Vikram. A very nice question, which is more related to me. And fortunately, I have a colleague with me, Dr. Paresh, who is expert in patent for the protection of the new formulation. After pandemic, the companies have become more serious about the R&D activity, because we have seen during the pandemic, India has cultivated many things, but due to the confidence, lack of confidence, they have not come out, the molecules. So after the pandemic, the R&D activity will be more as compared to the last few years, because we have seen such incidents, unfortunate, that the weapon was not available with us, and we are not able to fight with the coronavirus. So the R&D activity will be very vigorous, And the most of the time, I think we will be more concentrate on biosimilars. We'll more concentrate on biotechnology. These are the two aspects, and probably we will work more on prevention now as a prophylactic drugs as compared to the treatment and for the cure. So the idea that the vaccines will be the core area where I think we will be more concentrated, and as such there are certain companies those are in real in R&D sector like Serum Institute, Zydus Cadila, Biocon, Panisha Biotech. Their R&D is constantly working after this pandemic for 24 hours. And that is why there is always a news every day in morning that one company is going to release a vaccine, another company is claiming that next Sunday you will get. It means their R&D activity is working. Not only R&D activity, even our most of the CROs, clinical research organizations, they will also remain engaged. Once the molecule will come, and definitely we will go for the clinical trials and for getting the safety profile of the molecule, toxicity profile of the molecule, and ultimately the approval from DCGI. So the R&D activity will be more influenced in the coming years as compared to what we have seen in the past. The percent of our investment in normal Indian companies, they invest not more than 1% of their profit, I'm talking, on R&D. But what we have a very gross, because we did the small pilot study on the R&D. Most of the companies, those are R&D oriented, they are trying to invest now 5%, because they have seen with this pandemic, they were not able to produce the really good formulations to protect the society. So once they will spend 5%, probably we can able to produce, we will able to give a better drug therapy to the patient or to the clinicians. Mr. Vikram, thank you very much. Very nice. The question you asked me, what will be the impact on the therapeutic area related to treatment? There is a lot of changes will be there in the therapeutic. Number one, I think that the whole our ideology will be remain on acute management, not on the chronic management. We have collected some of the data, like I will talk about the especially gynec section in gynec, because gynecologists most of the time they use hematinics and progesterone. This market will decline. Because there will be diversification. Now we are more serious for this pandemic as compared to anything. So the gynec section, these are the very common drugs they use in hematinics and progesterone. Probably they will decline at least to 11 to 12%. Number two, the wellness treatment like multivitamins, food supplements, as well as emoluments, like we talked about the dermal, they will hit the market. Their growth will be 50%. The reason is very simple. And during the pandemic, we have seen that the prophylactic treatment is more required now to save ourselves from this pandemic. So that is why the people will go more on the wellness, more on the prophylactic and preventive as compared to for cure. And that is why the nutraceutical market, especially we are talking the multivitamins and the food supplement, they will grow not less than 25%. The growth will be very excellent. It is much better than my market growth, the pharmaceutical growth. The third very important, that is antibiotic. Today we see the market of the pharmaceutical market, the oral antibiotics are more sellable as compared to injectable. Injectables, only the third generation or fourth generation, they are doing well. But the oral is more, but after the pandemic, we believe that oral section will not so sellable as compared to injectable. Injectable of life-threatening. Antifungal will decline. Antifungal will decline after the pandemic by around 5%. Macrolides, yes, it is another a class which will take a jump, which we have already seen, not due to the media or the speakers have spoken or clinicians have spoken, because the line of treatment and line of prevention for coronavirus is only two, that is hydroxychloroquine and number 2 is azithromycin, because azithromycin is really a first-line treatment for the throat infection. So there's awareness. So due to the awareness, that's the azithromycin sales will be much better beyond our expectation. And then the angiotensin receptor blockers and dual hypertensive shows minimum increase. If we compare to the last 2 years, that the dual hypertensive or angiotensin receptor blockers, their sales were really good because they come into the chronic management. But after the pandemic, their increase will be there, but not as compared to other therapeutic segments. If we talk as a prophylaxis, as a preventive, you'll find it will increase by 87%, especially the immunity boosters. Immunity boosters, we are talking vitamin C, vitamin D, other respiratory drugs like cough, cold, anti-allergic, and anti-asthmatic. Their market will go by 87%. So definitely other segment will be they are going to lose the market. And the potential treatment, we talk about the anti-malarial, like outdated drug, we were talking about the chloroquine. I think it will come again the first line. Maybe the chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine. Anti-infective, we talk about the azithromycin. Antiviral, like lopinavir and ritonavir. I think their sales will be in double digit. Right now it isn't only single digit, 5 to 6%. But after the pandemic, their sales will grow not less than 20%. And critical care, that is the most important today. The patient who is on the ventilator. So even in today also, in the critical care, it has already increased by around more than 70. But after the pandemic, it will go up further. It will go around 78%, especially meropenem, cefoperazone, vaccines, BCG, and hepatitis. These are the therapeutic areas. These are the drugs will be increased by 70%. And if we go to specialty care, which comes to lifestyle management like cardiac, diabetic, and neurological, they will also grow by 39%. So these are the drugs which fall under these category: cardiac, diabetic, and neurological. The reason is very simple, that still in our back of the mind, this pandemic will be remain, and that is why the body immunity will decline drastically, and especially the old age, those are more than 60. So these diseases are already age-old syndrome, and unfortunately, if it will be there in the back of the mind, probably the cardiac patients will be more, diabetic patients will be more, neurological patients will be more. Definitely, the consumption will be more. So these are the specific areas where you'll find our domestic sales will be much better as compared to over the past years.
So my next question is, why plasma therapy is the effective in India and not on other countries?
Thank you very much, Mr. Vikram. Very nice question you asked me. It is very useful for everybody. As such, we should try first to understand what is a plasma. Plasma, which is a liquid part in our blood, which is constitute around 55%, and 45% we have a RBC, WBC, and platelets. If we go further, 55%, you'll find 92% is a water, and 8% is concealed, that protein, antibodies, and electrolytes. So this 8% is very important for us. So what happens when any infection is there? Our own body, it tries to protect you by generating a certain antibodies. If you have a sufficient antibodies in your body, the enemy will not be winner. It will subside the antigen. Similarly, the patients, those are already cured, and if we take their plasma, and this plasma, if we will infuse to a patient who is on ventilator, means he is suffering the severe, the severity has come and most of the vital organs are gone, the lungs, heart, kidney. If we will inject this plasma of the cured patient from the coronavirus, it means we are giving that patient a ready-made antibodies. If we are giving a ready-made antibodies to that patient who is on ventilator, probably he will able to fight with my antigen and he will cure well. So in India, we have started this therapy in All India Medical Institute in Delhi, and very successful. We tried around with 6 patients, and all 6 patients recovered in time. Only the difficulty in India that we have not recorded well the patient who has recovered. The data is not there with the hospitals, and that is why we are not able to find out the patient who has recovered from the coronavirus. If the record is available. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Due to technical issue, it was reconnected. So please
Yes.
share your.
Yeah. Can I continue?
Sure, sir.
Yeah. So we were talking about the plasma transfusion. The plasma transfusion we started in All India Medical Institute in Delhi, and we approximately we transfuse in 6 patients, and all patients are very successful. Now, only the difficulty within India, we are not able to maintain the record the patient who was recovered from coronavirus. So we are not able to trace these patients. And now the most important query which is raised by the panel, why plasma therapy is effective in India, not in other country. Very interestingly, in India, the quality of the virus, the species of virus, which is a very poor. We got only single spike virus, single spike coronavirus. Spike means legs. So when you have a single leg and it is going to attach with angiotensin receptor by 2, so it will attach with only with a single spike. And when it is going to mutate, it will mutate once only. The genome is a very poor genome, and that is why it will mutate only one time. Whereas the virus which is there in China, or which is there in Italy, or which is it was in USA, it had 3 spikes. So 3 spikes, the attachment is at 3 places in the receptor. So the attachment of 3 spike is a very difficult task as compared to single spike. And when you have a 3 spike, means it is going to mutate 3 times. But in India, the mutation rate was very poor. It was 1 time only. And that is why you must have seen in India, the hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, it was very effective in acute stage. Even the plasma, when we transfused the plasma, most of the patients, they recovered very successfully with the plasma transfusion. So the quality of the virus, the species of the virus was very poor. It was only single spike, and the mutation was only single time. Whereas in Italy and China or USA, it was 3 times mutation. So when mutation is 3 times, then it is difficult to control the pandemic as compared to single time. So that is why we are very successful in blood plasma transfusion. I want to mention here, because in audience, I think I will have a good scientific people from R&D, my clinician friends must be there. So as such, what is plasma? Means when we talk about this plasma with the antibodies, it is a vaccine. In my definition, I did talking the person who was recovered from the coronavirus and he has antibodies in his plasma, it is a vaccine. So the vaccine is already available in India, but only the difficulty, there is a confusion in medical fraternity. And the plasma, when you take the plasma of one patient and when you are going to infuse another patient, there will not be any hypersensitivity because it is a protein. It's a 8% has the protein, and then it has the electrolytes and it has antibodies. So I think we are talking about the vaccines, but there is no need. If you take one the the 5 ml of the plasma of cured patient, you can cure 10 patients. Those are suffering and those are on ventilator. When you take 5 ml of the plasma of cured patient, you can give 40 people. Those are normal as a prophylactic. Initially, we do not have a data, but theoretical what we have analyzed, I think it will be very successful. And whatever you are today, you are listening on the that Israel or USA or China or anybody has developed the vaccine. If you see their composition, if you see their internal, the clinical aspects or medical aspect, you will find they will try from plasma only. So it is a plasma, and this coronavirus, because it goes from human to human, it is not being transmitted from human to the animal or animal to the human. Probably in that case also, it's also very favorable point to cure the coronavirus patient, and especially those patients are on ventilator. And in my opinion, it is my personal opinion that plasma transfusion is nothing great. It is a vaccine. We can use as a vaccine. Thanks a lot.
My next question from Dr. Paresh Dave. In perspective of e-pharmacy in India in this pandemic time, please, Dr. Paresh Dave, are you audible to me?
Can you hear me?
Dr.
Yes, sir.
Paresh, we cannot hear you, sir. Your voice is not audible.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Now we are hearing you.
My voice is audible. So, as I discussed earlier, some of the points I already discussed earlier, regarding e-pharmacy, that e-pharmacy is going to affect a lot, and it is going to be must for India. So, to take this forward, I can give example, that automation of the medical stores, it's very important. And automation of the medical store is going to be important, because in India we do not have any system where we can have the pill pack and other stuff which is automated and which is packed according to these standards without touching the by hands or anything. So in e-pharmacy, as I said, e-prescription and e-health card and other e-pharmacy is more important. So that is also important for automation of this one. So even as I said, that our medicines are not barcoded one, so it is difficult to track also. And even our hospitals and many doctors are not digitalized. They are not automated and they are not modernized. So all these things is going to affect. And e-pharmacy, that field, I can see that innovations in this e-pharmacy is going to affect a lot, and it is going to be very challenging, and it is very exciting also, because then the scope of the for the healthcare industry is going to improve a lot by using these e-pharmacy and other stuff also.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Paresh
Dr.
Dave.
Paresh and Dr. Sanjay. Sir, that's all for our question session. Just to conclude, I would like Dr. Paresh to give some takeaway points for the audience.
So takeaway points, as my senior, Dr. Sanjay has very well explained, that first thing is that, as he said, be positive, and positivity is going to be playing a main role in this one. And as Dr. Sanjay also shared, data that Indian pharmaceutical industry is going to have a very good time and very good perspectives going to be there. And we are going to start manufacturing of raw material, so we should not depend on the China. So that is one of the lesson we are going to learn, that whenever we are trying to make finished product and particularly generic products, we should have our own raw material. If we don't have our own raw material, then how can we make the generic drugs and finished product? So this is one of the point is that we should not depend on other countries or other manufacturers when we can produce ourselves uh, raw materials. So that is there. And as he said, and Dr. Sanjay also shared the data also for each medicine, like anti-malarial and anti-infection, antiviral medicine. how many percentage is going to affect, and what are the things. And the last part, he said that nutraceuticals. So those things, and we have our Ayurveda. So Ayurveda medicine is there, and other nutraceutical products are there. Those medicines and those supplements is going to help a lot. As he said, therapeutic treatments are more important, and people are going to be more cautious and more, aware about the situation, that how we can improve our health daily wise. So we must do, meditation, and we can now divert ourselves to yoga also. And Dr. Sanjay also, in the last part, he explained very well, why this plasma therapy and why this plasma treatment is going to means beneficial to the Indian society, and particularly for India also. So how it is different, plasma treatment is doing in the USA, and why it is doing in India. Both places, it's going to be different. So these are the lessons, and Dr. Sanjay covered up a lot. And as I said, e-pharmacy and automation of our industry is going to play important role, and our government has to play an important role, and to keep eye open, and to change, our intellectual property laws, and how these big giant companies, they are taking benefits of these IP laws. Our government has to be more vigilant to make sure that we will give, benefits to the companies who deserve. We cannot give in the hand of others who in future, may be harmful for our society and for society worldwide. So these are the key points from this our webinar discussion. And if I have missed anything, Dr. Sanjay may cover up, and Vikram or Anshu ma'am, you can cover up if I missed any.
Thank you, Dr. Paresh. Dr. Sanjay, if you want to add something to Dr. Dave's concluded points.
Yeah, namaskar once again. Try to have the namaskar. We become dominated all over the world. It's a positive. We are doing namaskar, our forefathers. We should learn and always remain positive. Try to remain with virus. Try to remain with coronavirus. We all have a coronavirus. We all have. But only few people, they show positivity. They have a positive because their body immunity is poor. Like tuberculosis, we all are a tubercular patient. But nobody is in our pavilion, even on the panel. We are a normal human being because our body immunity is very competent. So try to motivate you, try to remain positive, try to remain away from your headlines. Do not use the television, do not see your WhatsApp. Try as much and try to entertain yourself by any way. Try to forget coronavirus and try to remember that coronavirus is already in our body. Take the measurement step like prophylactic that we discussed at length. So as much as, and we are very fortunate, Indians are always fortunate in the world that we got poor quality of the virus, poor quality. We have only single spike, single mutation, which we can subside anytime and any moment. The line of treatment is available, as a preventive treatment is also available, as a treatment also, line of treatment. We were the first in the world to discover the hydroxychloroquine and the azithromycin. And when you are taking, I always say, please do not go for the self-medication. Always go to your clinician, take under his supervision, and ask your doctor friend to write omega-3 fatty acid when he is writing hydroxychloroquine or azithromycin. Because hydroxychloroquine is a lipid, it bonds with the lipids, and that is why the toxicity is there first on the liver, another toxicity on the eye. So that is why when you take this omega-3 fatty acid, it will subside the complication of these two drugs. So the most I always say to people, you always remember that we have coronavirus in our body. Only we should try. It should not dominate in our body. It should be always subsided. Thanks a lot. Once again, namaskar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sanjay Agarwal and Dr. Paresh Dave. You have enlightened us about the topic of coronavirus and its impact on pharmaceutical industry and API industry. So over to Vikram if he want to say anything, or how
Yes,
the
ma'am.
attendees will get the webinar or the question and answer. How will
I
they?
have I have few questions from your side. What is the post-COVID world will look after?
This question is to me.
Yeah.
See, the after this COVID pandemic will end, the world will be completely changed. The new culture will be there, like they will see about the hygiene facility, the hygiene practices will be changed, and the namaskar practice, as Dr. Sanjay has said, the namaskar practice will be more flourish in the world. And I think everything which Dr. Sanjay and Dr. Paresh has told, I am completely agree to their points.
Because just 2-3 days before I read message in WhatsApp, they said that before 25th March, kids
Yes.
used to play in the playground and other places, so after these, you may be seeing less number of kids playing in the playground. So
Yes, sir.
that
Exactly.
change, and maybe we will eat less outside, home, and junk food will go down, and we will eat more most of the time in at home also, because Dr. Sanjay must be knowing, in Ahmedabad there is a kind of culture like that. Every Saturday or at least Sunday, people go out and eat outside. So that culture is going to change after this pandemic, and now also it is changed. But after, when this lockdown is open, still that we means many family won't go outside to eat for food.
One
Thank you very
more.
much, Dr. Dave. To add to my points, Vikram, I had a question that the attendees, if they want to ask some question and answer to our guest, how can they?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, they.
Yes, they can ask by self mute. From our side, we all the attendees are unmuted, so they can ask questions by self mute. Otherwise, they can drop their question in question box also.
Okay. Now the webcam system is coming. The online system is coming. So the children are more aware about this system, and they will be more. I mean, after this also, they will be more. They get the knowledge of getting the education online.
Can I add one more very important, if you
Sure.
permit me, the panel, we done some a small pilot study with the clinicians also, doctors also, their relation with the patient after pandemic. So what our static is saying, the doctor's interaction, the 82% will be on the phone calls. Around 78% they will entertain their patient on WhatsApp. 41% on the SMS, and 29% on email, and 11% on video call, and 10% on live digital like we are doing. So
विक्रम, ये
this
सारे
will be the
आप
change.
समझे नहीं मेरी बात. ये सारे क्वेश्चन मैंने इन
This will be the another, the after the pandemic, the clinicians will have a different a relation with the patient. One-to-one relation will be less as compared to the media will come in the picture. The more we will use these WhatsApp, telephones, emails. So doctors will also they want to maintain the distance, with the patient, and patient also want to maintain. So probably it could be one of the study will be successful of the pandemic. Will we save a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of time, and other things. So that could be a one of the area the people will get the benefit of the pandemic.
So,
One.
Vikram, can I ask one more question now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, Dr. Sanjay, means definitely this digitization is going to change. But personally, if I think of that earlier time we used to have these Nadi doctor, these our Ayurveda Charya, they they were able, and they are also, many of them now also, they use without, checking the nadi, they cannot diagnose, so that physical touch, of the doctor is must, to diagnose patients, what is real uh, uh, disease is there and how this patient. So my question is how it's going to affect, that physical examination by the doctor of the patients in there if we move, more towards digitization.
Yeah, Dr. Paresh, very nice question. Now, artificial intelligence have come. Artificial intelligence. Even they wear the ECG, they transmit through the WhatsApp. If I want to check the retina of the person, he can keep his smartphone just opposite the eye, and we can see the what is going on immediately. His ophthalmologist is observing on the WhatsApp. Heart rate, we can observe with the artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence will have more impact now, which is in certain segment is already started. Like what they do the scanning, when they do the scan from the distance, they are checking your temperature. No, they don't touch your body. From the distance, they will see that your temperature. It is another impact of the pandemic. No, the artificial intelligence, ECG, pulse, retina examination, otological examinations. They all do with artificial intelligence, and these apparatuses are available in India also. Now these thermometers, they are openly available that you can see and you can read the temperature from the distance of the patient. So that will be the effect. This in Nadi bed there was the physical, the presence was required. But when we use this artificial intelligence, the person, you can detect the person from 1,000 kilometers. He can send your ECG and you can read and you can recommend the diagnosis and treatment. If he has some problem in the eye, if we can see the picture of the eye internal with a smartphone camera, I think he can read. ECG we can read. So these are the latest and the impact on the our medical sciences with the artificial intelligence. It was very effective with the pandemic. After pandemic, the artificial intelligence will dominate in medical sciences.
Sir, one question from my side. How academic researchers are focused on which area after this pandemic? They have to focus on antiviral or on another areas also?
This is for me, Mr. Vikram.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, as I have shown the statics, if we see the statics, you must have seen there are only two classes, where the whole R&D, clinician, academician, their brain will work anti-malarial and antiviral. Because the anti-malarial, it doesn't have the meaning that we will have a malaria, but the malaria therapy is more effective in antiviral therapy. The reason is very simple, due to the the kinetic of the anti-malarial drug, which is very similar to antiviral therapy. And that is why the most of the academician, they will drive more research paper on it, they will work more on it. So even the R&D, the Indian R&D or at global, I think these are the two places where we will more concentrate as compared to therapeutic segment. If you remember, when I was talking about the therapeutic segment, I said there are certain therapeutic segment will be declined, especially the gynec. Till date, if you see the market size in India for the gynec and especially hematinics and progesterone, its growth rate is more than 23%. But after the pandemic, it will be declined. So that changes will be there in the academicians as well as in the researchers or as well as in our commercial companies also.
Sir, one more question arises from Dr. Niranjan Lal, from Dr. Sanjay. Knowledge on COVID-19. What is the effect of climate on coronavirus?
Yeah, wonderful. It's already been tested. It is one of the reasons. Fortunately, I said Namaskar has become popular, not because Namaskar, because our holistic approach in India, holistic. So that is why we got very weak virus in India, only single spike. Number two, this single spike, it survived only 25 degrees centigrade. As you revise the temperature, 35 or 40, this virus will not survive. This virus will not be survived. So you keep remain yourself in the sunlight, and you drink as much as you can drink hot water, with the two reasons. Number one, the virus will not be remain in your body. Unfortunately, it has come because he will survive up to 25 degrees centigrade, and where you are consuming the hot water. Number two, the hot water is a bronchodilator. When you take the hot water, your bronchi will dilate and you can respire well.
So one more question from Shruti Gundale from Mumbai. She is asking about what will be the immediate impact of COVID-19 on job sector.
Is for me or from other
So this is
panelists?
for you.
Okay. See, the job, for some extent, I'm talking the pharmaceutical, at least for 5 or 6 months, there is already the manpower scarcity is there. But after 5 to 6 months, the technical, there will be boom, because one side we will more concentrate on R&D. Another side, a lot of multinationals are coming in India, more than 1,000 companies. So a lot of unemployment will be there. So they will going to employ the people. After 5 6 months, I think 2021, the employment in pharmaceutical will not be as we are observing today.
Sir, one more question for Dr. Paresh Dave. What is the role of patent agent in IPR? Is it a government job? Can you please tell us in respect of patent agent exam?
Thank you for the question. Patent agent is not a job. It's not a government job, but patent agent is a kind of one of the certification and one of the recognition you are getting from the Indian Patent Office, that if you are qualified the patent agent exam, then you are qualified to practice a patent agent, and you can go to the patent office and you can file a patent application on behalf of the applicant, and you can also prosecute, that whatever the patent application is there, you can answer to those queries, and you can talk to the patent office controller at the patent office with respect to the patent application. So in a nutshell, in the short, patent agent is not a government job. It's kind of, certification or agent is giving by the patent office. It's kind of lawyer, If you are a lawyer and you are registered at the bar council, you can practice to the court. So this is like similar way, patent agent exam. If you are qualified, then you registered as a patent agent. Then you can practice and with the patent office on behalf of your applicant.
Sir, one more question for Dr. Sanjay Agrawal. What is the concept of CRO in the growth category?
Yeah, after the pandemic, I think the CRO will be overloaded, because our R&D will extensively work, and when the R&D has produced the molecule or formulation, it has to go for the clinical trial for the commercialization. So I think the extensive clinical trial will be conducted in India. The multinationals are coming from China to India. Definitely, they have to go for the different clinical trial in different phases. I think the CRO will be more occupied as compared to any other area in the pharma.
Sir, one more question for Dr. Sanjay Agrawal. Can you add some points regarding the treatment by interferon beta?
Yeah, a lot of studies have come with the interferon, but unfortunately, the interferon is not successful, because the role of the interferon is modulate our body immunity. The patient who is already suffering with the coronavirus and he's in severe stage, that time he required a ready-made antibodies. As a prevention, we can use interferon, but when the patient is already being diagnosed and the symptoms have already been appeared, I think the interferon will not be much help. At that time, only the plasma transfusion will be helpful to the patient, not the interferon.
One more question for Dr. Paresh Dave from Dr. Meghna Mehta. whether patent agent exam is equivalent to diploma in IPR?
No, no. So patent agent, as I said, is different, and IP PG diploma is different. Because patent agent examination is you can say is controlled by the Indian Patent Office, and PG diploma is one of the PG diploma courses offered by different universities and colleges. So though both things are different, one is is giving recognition and qualified as a patent agent. You can practice with the Indian Patent Office. While PG diploma IPR is one of the PG diploma course, as same as other PG diploma course, where you can take from any other colleges, private college or university.
One more information for all the attendees. The link for webinar assessment is showing on your screen. That is www.opf.org.in/impact. All the attendees are requested to go through this link and fill their assessment. Your certificate is subjected to only your assessment. If you not fill assessment, you are not eligible for certificate. That is compulsory for each and every attendees who have to fill this assessment. Anyone more available for questions answer session? We are available here. You can ask directly by self-mute, or you can drop your question in question box. Sir, in respect of COVID-19, you earlier said it is impacted by temperature, but in here Rajasthan we can see there is at current situation temperature is 50 plus. So how it will be impacted? We are not saying it is impacted because here day by day cases are increases, not decreases.
The reason is very simple that the coronavirus, the survival is only 25 degrees centigrade. But the number of cases are increasing with many other ways. The number one, they are not maintaining the distance. The hygienic condition is not. And most important, the body immunity. I'll give the example when the coronavirus was started, and today it has declined after 13th or 14th April because the temperatures have gone up. Even today, most of the part of the in India, the weather is not as it was, it expected in month of May. A lot of raining and cloudy weather is there. The temperature sometimes is 20, 25, or but now it has not reached to 50. It's all over the country. It is around 30 to 35, maximum 37. So it has not reached, but temperature is a fact, on coronavirus, and that is why it is a well-tested remedy with the hot water. If it has gone to your throat, it can be killed with hot water only, with the coffee, tea, whatever is there. It is not going to survive after 25 degrees centigrade. But other precaution has to be taken care. Other precaution.
Sir, some candidates are asking about, please re-explain about plasma therapy.
Thanks a lot. Actually, I mentioned the plasma is the thing. It is a liquid part of our blood, and which has around 55% in our blood, and 45% is RBC, WBC, and platelets. And the word has derived from protein, the plasma. So when we see the real composition of the plasma, you'll find 92% is the water and 8% is composed of the protein, antibodies, and electrolytes. So antibodies are already there. And if we take the antibodies of the recovered patient, which has already produced the antibodies against the coronavirus, and that is why he has become healthy, he has become normal. So when you take the plasma of the cured patient from the coronavirus, and if you can inject or if you can infuse, and the patient who is on ventilator or in severe stage, we call it third stage. And at that time, the patient who has a deficiency of the antibodies against the coronavirus, he will get the ready-made antibodies, and that antibodies will fight with the existing coronavirus, and patient will recover. So that is a whole mechanism. And only the difficulty I mentioned in India that we were not able to maintain the record, and that is why now it is very difficult to find the patient who have been recovered. And that is only the problem is going on. Otherwise, 5 ml of the one cured patient plasma, we can treat 10 patients, those are in ventilator. And if these 5 ml is being used, it can give it to the 40 normal people as a prophylactic, as a vaccine. And there will not be any anaphylactic, no anaphylactic, because we are driving a plasma. We are not driving related to other part of the blood.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any more available for question answers? We can ask directly to Dr. Sanjay Agrawal. Dr. Sanjay Agrawal, Dr. Paresh Dave, and Ms. Anshu Yadav for enlightening your knowledge on impact of COVID-19 pandemic on pharmaceutical industry. So how it will be impacted. We hope our audience will be grateful to hear you today's session. Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am, for joining with us.
Thanks a lot. Namaskar once again that you have invited us as a panelist, and we got a very good opportunity to hear my other colleagues, including you also. Thanks a lot. Namaskar.
Thank you, Vikram, and thank you to Operant Pharmacy Federation, and thank you to Quill Pharma also, and thank you, Ms. Anshu.
Thank you, sir.
And it is pleasure to have you all and to have this first our online webinar in collaboration of Quill Pharma and PF together. And I hope
And
it is
one
also
information to all the audience suggested by Dr. Sanjay Agrawal. For B.Pharm final year students, we have training programs. Those candidates of B.Pharma final year who require the industrial training, we have the training in OPF. We have training collaboration with Quill Pharma, so they can apply us. So we will give the certificate and training as well as. You can contact on our mail IDs, so we will reply you positively, and you can impacted by this also. You can also visit the Quill Pharma website. The link for Quill Pharma is showing on your screen. Lots of principals of the colleges join this webinar, so we are also requested them to motivate your students to join industrial training with Quill Pharma. The editor-in-chief of Quill Pharma also here, Ms. Anshu Yadav. She will also assist our students to more about the pharmaceutical profession, and she will also enlighten the knowledge. Anyone can ask question by self-mute. From our side, all the audience are unmuted. Thank you, sir, for joining with us. Till we are going to end today's session. Nobody is available for question answers.
Thank you, Vikram.
Thanks.